Welcome everybody to the Jim Hickey podcast, the A to Z of success in the ring. Jim, this week we're going to talk about the letter V for visualization. So I think every sports person and particularly people in any professional sport would have know about visualization and trying to imagine yourself being successful in advance. It's kind of always been common in sport, but I suppose everybody talks about it. You might kind of explain your experience with working with clients and how you help them visualize and how that makes a difference to them, really.
Thank you, Connor, first of all, for the introduction. And second of all, I'm really excited to talk about visualization. Some people have never used it, and well, we all use it, but we don't realize we're using it. And a lot of people are using it in the wrong way, as in they have this expectation that things are going to go wrong. Bad things are going to happen. And I'm amazed that writers would tell me this and how strong it is in their mind. I spoke to a writer this week, and she said, I've just bad thoughts, I'm doubting myself, and I've this stream of negative thoughts all the time. Now, first of all, I'm excited when I hear that, because people are aware what they're thinking. And second of all, I know through the process I'll help them to change that thought to thinking of positive, what they want to think about. But first, like I've spoken before, awareness is curative, so we have to become aware. So for example, that writer, her mindset then is actually creating the future of the bad things, unfortunately. Now, the key then is to become aware that we have to train ourselves to think and to visualize what we want, and to have a picture of where we want to go, because our brain thinks in pictures. Einstein said logic will bring you from A to B, but your imagination will bring you everywhere else. And the best nation is our imagination. So imagination is picturing, imagining, and again, in color and what we want. As writers, almost the first thing they do when they come out, they look at their rounds. And ideally, I love when writers look at the rounds. Some writers don't realize the importance of it, to look, and then as you look at it, you look, as we spoke already, to debrief what was great, what can be greater. But to create this greatness, the dream for me, for all writers, is that they can visualize in advance where they want to, how they want to ride, what result they want first of all, and then how they're going to do it. And then, of course, to accept, that it's not going to be some ideal every time, but the more you can picture it, imagine it, create it in advance, the quicker and the easier it's going to happen. So to go into a deeper part of it, it's like everything new. People who haven't done visualize, just take baby steps, picture even for 30 seconds, what your day would be like on a show day. And I believe every day should be a show day, except Monday. That you should picture how you want it to be, and imagine, but little steps at a time. Start with 30 seconds, a minute, and so on. The dream is 20 minutes, to get into that flow state for 20 minutes. So it's like you're creating your own Netflix. You're creating your own videos that you're going to look back and you're going to be proud of. Then when is the best time to visualize? Is last thing at night, first thing in the morning. And that's the subconscious mind, is what works deep underneath the surface. It's like an iceberg. It's all underneath it's what happens underneath here. And to be consciously aware of, going to sleep on what your dream day is going to be tomorrow. Like if it's a flat day and you're going to school, rewriting the rounds and the walk, trot and canter, and that you've jumped last week, that you're all the time in show mode, and that visualizing all the horses being healthy and sound, visualize the gratitude, the feeling that you're going to feel inside, the grace and how lucky you are, and the excitement of having what you get to do with bring all the emotions into it. Stir up the great feelings inside, your heart, that just, God, I'm so lucky, and I'm going to see all the horses healthy and sound. And that's really important, because sometimes horses, as we're like humans, they get hurt and injured, but we have to visualize them healthy again. We have to picture them in the picture of health out in the paddocks and all healed and healthy, and that everybody, all your team, that you have just nothing but good thoughts, good intentions for all your life, and your tunnel vision of what you want. And the more you can connect with that last thing at night, the more you're actually creating. You are a creator. You're going to marinate as you sleep. Wayne Dyer is a great philosopher. He's passed recently, but he always talks, you marinate, but you have to know what you want to put into the ingredients, and you have to think about how I really, when I sleep, before I sleep, I'm all the time just putting the intention out for the next day is going to be a great day for everybody, just that good energy. And then in the morning, you have to, again, be patient on this, but if you can start with 30 seconds, a minute, and eventually build it up that you have 20 minutes to sit. I'm a big fan, we spoke about being uncomfortable and getting out of bed early, and I have a shower the minute, my alarm goes, and most of the time I even be up before my alarm. So I'm already, my senses are already heightened, and I can visualize for 20 minutes what way I want my day. I'm picturing it, and I go universal too. I want it good for everybody. I want everyone to be happier and healthier and better, in their life. But as a writer, think about your day, what you want. Think about, you can go long term and what you want for the year and the week, and then back to the day, and just have fun and see all your horses and picture the shows in advance, and on show day what way you want it. You're more aware of your time slots and the classes you're in, and if you can picture ribbons and podiums and play with your mind. And because the more you can play with this energy, it's all about manipulation of energy, the more you're going to create it. Unfortunately, people aren't aware of this, and so many people have created images, negative images. So if you can create the visualization of images that are just what you want, and then the course plan and the course walk and the timing of it, to picture it and imagine how you're going to write it. And if you can allow, again, 20-minute rule, it's very hard sometimes if you're early to go in the class, and then you have to be really super organized. So it all happens the night before you go into your visualizing, planning out the day for show day. What are your time slots? So many writers would say, I just didn't get my time organized. I was rushing here, rushing there. So again, it's all in the preparation, the organization. So you have time to visualize your courses. And I'm a big fan of asking writers to visualize your warm-up as well. Mm-hmm. Some writers say, I have visualized, I'm good I need to get better, but I'm I really allow time, but I never visualized the warm-up. One writer in California, down in Thermal, he was telling me how he visualized, and I said, when do you visualize? And he said, I visualize when I'm in the warm-up. And I said, would you be open to changing that? And he said, yeah, like, what do you mean? And I said, can you visualize before you ride the warm-up in advance and the class and but make time? And I said, pick time. Like, he said, he said, well, what's the ideal? I said, well, if you can have 20 minutes sitting on your own to just get into this flow state. But I said, that's a long time you haven't done it. He said, no, I'll give it 10 minutes. And I watched him come out, and he was in his zone. He was in his zone. And I actually saw him the day before, like, kind of going through the course in his mind. And again, this doesn't always work, but he actually won the class, and he was thrilled. He said, like, I was just so in my zone in the warm-up, I was ahead of myself, and I was just in the zone in the ring. So, like, this does work. It doesn't always work, but it does work. And again, the warm-up, because if you don't visualize the warm-up, if anything goes off a slight bit, you can go into the ring a little bit, like...
throws you off, like...
Throws you off, yeah.
Yeah. Just from a practical point of view for writers listening, so how do you get people to visualize that? Is it like you get them to walk the course first and then come back and visualize going through every stride between every fence, or what way do you bring them through?
Yeah, so this is a great question. So I believe everyone does it, but the more you can consciously do it, to write correctly and to give yourself space to picture it and imagine it and see how you want it, and see and feel it in advance, like feel the excitement, the emotion, and the calmness and the good energy, that flow state. So how do you have to imagine their best rounds, and in it, they look back in the rounds they're really proud of, and then try and recreate those rounds. So just so that, let that be a template of the rounds that they're really proud of, and then just say, I'm going to ride like this, and maybe I might ride even better. And but also I ask, and this is really important, when even in the warm-up, you have plan A and plan B and plan A again. So sometimes plan A doesn't go to plan, but you have to fight for plan B, because horses could spook or something might happen, and you could be a bit long, a bit short, and you have to fight for both, and then fight for plan A again in the warm-up. Because so many riders say the warm-up didn't go well and went into the ring and I was just a little bit off. So the visualization on the warm-up is so important, equally as important. And then when you go into the ring, you have to understand that plan A mightn't always work, but I would say fight for plan A, fight for plan B, and fight for plan A again. Do you understand what that means?
So what you mean by that is if you go long or too short on a stride, you kind of get around that with your plan B and then come back to your plan A.
Exactly. Because in show jumping and hunter, everything, in this sport of equestrian, anything could happen. It's something, the horse might just spook a little bit, or an angle mightn't come up for you, or it just mightn't, just a little bit. Horse could jump in big. You have to react really quickly. And if you can visualize this in advance and be quick on it. There was one rider, she was in a 5-star class, and she fought for, we were only discussing this, to fight for plan A and fight for plan B. Before, if plan A didn't go to plan, she nearly, the round would just, the energy would drop. And we talked about fighting for plan A and fighting for plan A, and she rode a brilliant round. She really had to fight in the middle of the round, and she got it done. And the fight wasn't strong enough at the last fence, and the debrief afterwards, she was so proud of herself that she fought for plan A and went back to plan. She fought for plan B and went back to plan A, but her debrief was, I didn't fight hard enough for plan B. Just something, it didn't come off, and she needed to fight harder. But that was her learning. So it's really important to visualize that, and to, so you're planning for, you're picturing that if it doesn't go completely to plan, that you have plan B and you're going to go back to plan A. So your brain is already in that preparation mindset.
So a question I have for you is, how do you know you've done a good visualization and a not great one? Or how do you know you've kind of gone, is it that you almost feel like it's happened already?
Oh yeah, exactly. How do you know if you give it time, Connor? Time is everything. Because we talked about time. Without being disciplined on time, like, you're always going to be a little bit not in that flow state. Timing, and when riders say, God, when I give myself time,
Yeah, but let's say I say, I go and follow your lead, and you say, right, go off and do your 20 minutes, visualize every stride, every fence, everything. How do you know? You saying, no, I know exactly. How do you know in yourself going, right?
It's a great question.
Yeah.
So we need to concentrate, and it's all about our focus, and our brain can get distracted. And I'm a big fan of setting your time to focus on minutes. So when you put on your stopwatch in your phone, and you feel that your brain is somewhere else, just stop it and reset it again, and just say, okay, I'm going to hone in a bit better here. And yeah, it's all about the first couple of minutes, first couple of seconds as you time yourself. So it's just sharpening your focus, sharpening your concentration. I love when riders would say, God, I was so focused, I concentrated, I was so present, I was so in the moment. But that takes training of your brain, but your heart, to get aligned with what's important. The greatest sports people in the world are the people that can focus.
So, yeah, I suppose everybody's heard about visualization, but it's how do you know that you've actually hit the nail on the head going? Is it a feeling that they often talk about, visualize it so strong that you feel like it's already happened, rather than kind of, I have a vague idea, I kind of know I have to do two or three strides there, and and it's kind of a very nervous, stressed out kind of visualization. Whereas if you can visualize yourself in the flow state, where it's just easy, we're going through the strides perfect, and you feel like you've done the perfect round, is that the way you have to do it?
Great question again. So the word perfect, I don't like writers, first of all, talking about it. We're recovering perfectionists. It's the way I like to look at it, because nothing is perfect in this world, and especially with horses. So that is a huge thing to try and let go. But that's why I talk about plan A and plan B and plan A again. So to get a good visual, it's like everything, it's a habit. And as we go through this A to Z, these are so many tools and techniques and strategies and systems, but be patient on them. Again, 1% a day to improve. Take calm, deep breaths and be patient on how to visualize. It's not going to be, oh my God, this is great. I listened to Jim Hickey. It's going to change my life. And this vision, it's going to take practice. That's what I say. Build it up slowly. But know you can do that by looking, again, by watching your good rounds and watching heroes rounds, people you look up to. We talked about that and all the people who inspire you. Like imagine like how they ride and you're tweaking it and how tall they're going to be and how they adjust and how balanced they are, and just say I'm going to get a little bit better by watching them as well. So it's like you in basketball, the more you just love watching your heroes and it excites you, and when you play you'll do some little thing that you've seen from your heroes.
Yeah.
So it's all practice, but if you don't make the time for it, if you don't discipline yourself, that D that we talked about, the big D, discipline, it won't happen. So you just have to, again, build this practice in. And the beauty of it, writers would have said, God, I wouldn't have realized the importance of visualizing, but I wrote this line, it's exactly how I pictured it in advance in my visualizing. Like, I can't believe I wrote it so well. Like, and I wrote this angle or this rollback was so good because it came from the visualizing. There was one writer, he won a class and he said the hotel had a hot tub and he was in the hot tub just picturing the whole, he was able to download the course from the night before, the course plan. He was just picturing how he was going to ride it, and he just happened, again, Connor, I'm talking about when it does go right, but he happened to win the next day, and he said he pictured it all and he allowed loads of time, and he hadn't a load of horses that day. He just so much time to picture it and imagine it, and he saw himself with the cooler and the lap of honor. And sometimes I ask writers to listen to their national anthem, like to think about, and then sometimes I send it to them to kind of to get extra connection to the result and the ceremony.
It's interesting you're talking about that when in every example you're giving where it went really well, there seems to be a very positive, easy flow energy that you're talking about. Because I think all the time, whether we realize it or not, we're visualizing. That's just the way the brain works. But sometimes we're visualizing, oh, you're in that kind of survival mode of, oh, I hope that doesn't go wrong. I hope this. And you're almost visualizing it in a negative way. And then, so it was Joe Dispenza talks a lot about the thought sends what you want out there, whether it's a fear or actually what you want, but the energy of either the fear or the positive energy attracts it back in.
Absolutely.
So like, it just seems when you were telling the examples of where it went well is they visualize it in a very happy place. They can feel the buzz of actually, as you said, going around in the national anthem and everything, all that really positive energy, attracting that in, so that in general it will go wrong. It doesn't mean it's going to go perfect, but it will go right, like then, and that's it.
If you give the time to it, and if you work on the practice, Like I asked myself, what do I want before we sat down? And I said, look, because I'm so passionate and I want people to learn these tools and techniques that will make their lives better, that will make their show better, that will make their results better, their success better. But I just said, I'm just going to, go with the flow. It's going to be a really good, I have my own little self-chat.
So Jim, what's kind of coming to me is, sometimes when things do go wrong, you kind of can go into a negative spiral or start to believe that the world is against you, or like, oh, my horses always will go wrong. If one gets lame, that it almost believe that everything's going wrong for them, and then that almost manifests that situation again.
Yeah. I think that every writer can understand there are times in your life when you think that everything's going wrong, and why is everything going wrong? And we're human, that's natural, but we must catch that story, and we are a story, so that's a negative story, and we must change it. But there are different ways to make it even better. for example, when you think, oh my God, my another horse going lame, I'm so unlucky, that's a negative story you're going down, and whether you realize it or not, you're picturing another horse, oh, my whole yard, my whole barn, it's just so many horses are sick and hurt and recovering, and I don't know what's going wrong. That can happen, and look, we all need to vent and to rant, and there's a 90-second rule to just talk about it and to express how you're feeling and to acknowledge it and to let it come up. But we can't live there. We cannot live there, Connor. We have to change that story. And I am thrilled and excited to be here to help people to learn this. Like, I didn't know this, I had to learn this at a seminar, I don't know, it was in Arizona, where I became aware, God, I do go into that place. And then I learned, okay, it's normal, but I can't hold that story. I think there was Joe McClendon was really good at saying that we have to stop, okay, it is a story, and we have to feel it, and we have to own these emotions, so we can't ignore it and say, oh, I'm not thinking that. It's a feeling. But then you give it 90 seconds, and sometimes I do let it go on too long, and I'm sure, lots of people live in it for a lifetime. But we need to stop it then and say, okay, well, what do I want? And reset. I talked about the reset, and, restrooms to reset, and review things and reflect. Then you must create the new narrative, the new story again. And then to create that quicker, we have to go into the visualization. So again, that horses are, of course, my job as a coach is to, first of all, to understand where riders are at and to hear them and to feel their pain, to feel their suffering, to feel their challenges, to vindicate them and to understand that, that this is, an emotion they're feeling, and all these emotions are hard and it's sad, and then
so you feel heard and understood, and so you don't ignore the emotion. You just let it process a bit, and then you try and create the new story.
We have to take the bandage off and look at it, rip the bandage off and look at it, and then let it heal and say, okay, this is what it is at the moment. But now let's look at what you want. Where do you want? So of course, this story of the horses being lame and hurt and unsound. We have to say, okay, it is a fact, okay, it is an emotion, and it's a feeling, and it's a sadness and a disappointment, and it's not what you want as a rider. But then you must look, okay, what do I want? Okay, I want him to be healthy, and the next question I ask him, what else? I want him to be sound, and then what way do you want him in the ring and competing? If it's jumping clear rounds, competitive rounds, winning rounds, whether it's hunters or if it's dressage, at the go into that ring and they're winners again. So you need to change your narrative. And I've thankfully seen and witnessed riders tell me that, once I start to change my story and to start to see them back healed and sound, and, they got really quicker because my energy had changed. And every time I went down in the barn, I just had this good intention for them all to be back and healthy and sound. I didn't put all this low vibration, I know you're getting better. And I was talking to them, telling them, you're getting better, you're going to be back in the ring, and you're going to be competing, and you're going to be winning again. And you're changing the story. But then the more you can put energy into it, and the more you can picture them back competing again, picture them back where, the ribbons, whether they're red in Europe or blue in America, that this energy you're creating. But going back to the visualizing, if you can create sacred time, special time, carved out time in the early hours of the morning when your mind is fresh, when the subconscious is at its best. I ask riders, these should be your non-negotiables, last thing at night, first thing in the morning to visualize. So you're really creating that intention for all your animals in advance.
Yeah, I think what you've hit on there is when we seem to visualize subconsciously in a story we've kind of bought into, it can almost become your identity, or this always happens to me, or this always goes wrong, and no matter what I do, it seems to go wrong. People can get into that spiral.
Yeah.
And what you're saying is like you need to change the story by visualizing it consistently every day, every morning, every night. Yeah. So that you're creating the new story and putting out a different vibration that attracts it in.
Absolutely. Well, as you say the word consistently, when I ask, riders, like, what do you want? And they would say consistency. and it's a great word. And I say, of course, I'm always looking for more like consistency in what, and if it's clears or successful clears or productive clears or winning clears, so. And then I love the third, another one, do you want to be confident? Yeah, confident, consistent clears is a beautiful, I'm always playing with creating kind of little stories in your head, like healthy and sound, jumping winning rounds, or competitive winning rounds, or productive rounds, or confident, consistent clears. Just play, this is what I want, because again, unfortunately, the brain is wired to protect us, to be safe, and to keep us in so you don't have to struggle where you're just barely in survival mode. But I would love people to go way beyond that and stir up that feeling when you're a kid, and all the excitement again, and picturing the results that you want, that your energy is lifting all the time through your story.
So it's not just surviving, it's thriving. You move away from that.
Come on, it's from survival to thriving. I like that, Connor. Okay. Thank you.
Cool. So I suppose, again, like, this is a very important meditation, but like every meditation we go through, it almost helps people to visualize, because you talk them through a visualization process. So, how do we do a meditation where it helps us to visualize? Maybe you can kind of teach us how to do that.
Well, Connor, and each meditation is a visualization. When you close your eyes, you close down senses of your sight. So that alone is creating space, is creating a time where you're owning your own thoughts and feelings. So trust me on this one. As you visualize, as you meditate, you're visualizing, and then when we get to the end part, I'll go deeper into it.
Okay,
so can you all close your eyes? And now as you close your eyes, you're creating your own safe space to enter your own emotions inside, and then the words that I'm going to speak, so just listen to them and take them and own them for yourself. So taking your own deep breaths, your biggest deep breath you've taken today. As you let go, just see and feel your whole body relaxing. Picture every cell, every atom, every bone relaxing. Take another deep breath in and feel your whole energy just drop down into a place of peace, and calm, and ease and flow. Picture, see and imagine your mind, your head, your brain relax, giving it permission to be at peace. Feel your shoulders relax, your right shoulder, your left shoulder. See them drop. Feel your whole body drop into a place of relaxation, place of calmness. Feel your upper body, your lower body relax. Give yourself permission to see your right arm, to see your left arm relax. Permission to see and feel your right leg and left leg relax. Give yourself permission to feel your whole face relaxed. See yourself doubling this relaxing feeling. Feel the energy. See and feel the energy. Imagine, picture. Visualize yourself being more relaxed than you've ever been before. Feeling the peace. Visualizing yourself that you're looking down on yourself and you see a very happy, peaceful person. So relaxed, so at ease. And in this relaxed place, just visualize your future competition, your future show day, your next class. Now visualize the preparation for it. Every time you ride, you're in show mode, preparing. Think of the kid when you first started to ride, whatever age that was, the excitement, that picture, that energy. Feel the excitement. Think of your heroes who inspires you, the inspiration you get from them. Now step into that mindset of the heart set of that excitement that lies ahead, and the vision of the result you want, the vision of the end result. feeling proud at the end of the show, how you gave your all, how you pictured it, how you felt it, how you created it, how you wanted it to be from the moment of the show day to the last moment of the night, that you've just seen this day, a day in paradise, picturing, feeling, imagining the paradise, that flow, that energy, smiling as you see it, as you feel it, the connection, picturing this week, this month, this year ahead, this life ahead of you, how exciting it is, how happy and healthy and proud you are of creating the image, the vision, the picture, seeing it, feeling it, connecting to it, the anticipation of all the fun you're going to have, all the joy you're going to have, the flow of life, the time you're going to dedicate, the discipline of making time and space to visualize, last thing at night, first thing in the morning, and before you show, carving out, disciplining yourself to make sure you have this time for the greatest game. The greatest game of all is the imagination game, the vision game, the creation game, playing full out in this game, seeing it, feeling it, seeing your team, seeing your family, the village that supports you, seeing everyone happy, healthy, successful. Horses, healthy, sound, successful. All good feelings. Release all the old. Joy for yourself, your horses. Success for yourself, your horses, your team, your village, and everyone. Good intentions. From 1 to 2, fill yourself up with even more. Take these sighs of energy, breath, breathe into your body. This is your DNA, this is your identity, this is your destiny, this is who you are. Step in and own it. That's it, in gratitude and grace. From 1 to 2, 2 to 3, feel it, let it build, let it bubble. 3 to 4, 4 to 5, step into your power. Step in and own it, own that vision, own that picture, own that image. Creating the best Netflix you can create, yours, no one else's. Seeing it filled with joy and success and victory, triumphant celebration, all those good emotions, congratulations, cheerleading yourself, praising your team, seeing the world a better place because you're doing your best. 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Great job, I'm proud of you. I want to say well done. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Fantastic meditation again, Jim. That leads us in nicely to visualizing being world class. So next week we're going to focus on the letter W, so all about world class standards.